and welcome to this week's edition of the Orlando World Sunday Showdown Round of 64. This week we head to Universal's Islands of Adventure and Disney's Hollywood Studios for an interesting battle between the adventures of Spider-Man and the Indiana Jones epic stunt spectacular. Let's have a brief look at both attractions. The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man is a dark 3D motion simulator ride. Located within the Marvel Superhero Island area of Universal's Islands of Adventure, it opened with the park on the 28th of May, 1999, taking inspiration from the Back to the Future simulation ride at Universal Studios, while adding an advanced technology which made the attraction a hybrid ride combining special roving motion vehicles with 3D projection, elaborate physical sets, and both practical and tactile effects. The ride uses a complex track system, which allows the ride vehicles to pivot and rotate through a full 360 degrees, while interacting with 13 30-foot-tall screens which use a polarized 3D system, which counteracts the motion and 3D images, making it as smooth as possible while maneuvering around the track. Spider-Man has been rated highly as one of the best motion simulation rides in Orlando parks, winning dozens of awards since it opened. The attraction takes riders in the Marvel Universe in a fast-paced, immersive ride, which is sure to give guests a good thrill. The Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular is a live stunt and theatrical show located at Disney's Hollywood Studios. It opened a couple of months after the original MGM Studios park, opening on the 25th of August, 1989. The attraction is based on Indiana Jones's first film, The Raiders of the Lost Ark, and features various reenactments of iconic scenes and stunts from the film. The stunt show was originally produced and directed by George Lucas and Jerry Reese, bringing an element of authenticity to the performance, with a much more limited set. The show also allowed for audience participation, where selected park guests were able to be a part of the action, as extras in the show's performance. The Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular was one of the first theme park stage performances to feature a computer-based control system, which performance staff were able to remotely trigger throughout their performance, setting of pyrotechnics and special effects like flipping japes and moving set items. The show has remained popular since its inception, mostly for nostalgic reasons, as the Florida parks are gradually moving further away from the live-action sets and shows, which gives the attraction a much greater sense of value to those who still appreciate the over-the-top theatrical shows. Now let's take a look at both attractions and see which of these moves on to the next stage of the competition. Let's get straight into round 1. The Adventures of Spider-Man is themed inside of the Daily Bugle building, and turns park guests into last-minute reporters of the newspaper, and after boarding a vehicle known as a scoop. The rider learns that the Sinister Syndicate has captured the Statue of Liberty with an anti-gravity gun. This evil group is made up of 5 famous Spider-Man villains, Dr. Octopus, Scream, Electro, Hydro Man, and the Hobgoblin, and it is up to Spider-Man to defeat the villains and save the guests. The story is classic comic book material, and hold enough weight to provide an interesting enough ride. Theming is well planned and laid out throughout the attraction, with much of the pre-ride area themed highly with a wonderful display, arranged throughout the Daily Bugle office building. The Adventures of Spider-Man has some intricate theming for the physical sets, and you and whipped around the back alleyways and streets of the city, which creates a fantastic environment as they complement the ride system and the 3D movie projected throughout the ride. The attraction has used its theming so well that the ride is considered one of the best theme park motion simulator rides anywhere in the world, which highlights just how immersive the ride is. The Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular is a typically classic theatrical stunt show. Based on its use of special effects, pyrotechnics, and large-scale stage sets, it's set out well, and brings a little bit of the movie magic to life, showing guests a glimpse of how these effects work. It's not the most elaborate of theme sets, as it now appears to be a little outdated, and appears to be much more simplified than other complex stage shows. It brings out the essence of the movie franchise well, and offers a feeling of the big movie set, but doesn't quite offer enough in terms of theme buildings, making it lag just a little in order for guests to draw themselves into the movie world it is projecting. The story is good, as it follows briefly the classic scenes from the Raiders of the Lost Ark movie. so for nostalgic purposes it does well at providing a good story to follow. The stunts are well planned, it offers a decent thrill with a lot of flames and choreographed stunts, and provides a fun-filled action show. However, the attraction, despite having some upgrades over the years, is sadly outdated, and lacks the big event feel that it once had. The sets reflect the original franchise perfectly, but it is showing its age, and as such in the first round, just isn't as well themed as the Spider-Man attraction. So in round 1, the first point goes to the Islands of Adventure attraction as we move on to the second round. The Adventures of Spider-Man uses a complex track system to move throughout the ride. The ride vehicles are similar to those which were eventually used in the Transformers attraction at Universal Studios. Each vehicle, known as a scoop vehicle, has 3 rows, with 4 riders in each row, making it 12 riders per vehicle. The vehicles traverse along the suspended track, throughout the 65,000 square foot building, entertaining up to 2,160 guests per hour, making it one of Universal Orlando Resort's highest capacity rides. The Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular, being a theatre stunt show, manages to entertain a similar amount of guests, although not on an early capacity. The show operates at various times during each day, and accommodates 2,150 guests, which is decent for one show. If the show performed every hour, it would have double the capacity per hour, but for one performance it doesn't quite match the capacity of the Spider-Man attraction, albeit just 10 riders less. Meaning in round 2, the Spider-Man attraction takes a 2-point lead going into round 3. The Adventures of Spider-Man ride has a fairly standard ride duration. The ride passes quite quickly as it zooms around, twisting and pivoting at pace, with a frantic superhero chase around the heights of the city. The Spider-Man attraction clocks in at 5 minutes of ride time, making it a fairly reasonable time for riding. As with most 3D attractions, it can be difficult to focus on the screens, particularly with intense movements, so keeping the ride at just a few minutes long is ideal for those who have difficulty with their eyesight, and also keeping it short enough for younger riders to enjoy without the 3D element becoming too much. For this short 5 minutes duration, you do get a lot of action during that time, with a lot of bumping, spinning movements, and a fairly entertaining storyline. The ride makes decent use of its duration, particularly for a very complex ride system. The Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular attraction, as with most theatrical theme park shows, is a fairly lengthy presentation compared to the Spider-Man attraction. It is a 25-minute iconic look back at some fairly memorable scenes from the Raiders of the Lost Ark movie. In today's modern stunt shows, it still offers a bit of excitement as it tends to focus on more traditional stunt elements, although many people feel it's slightly out of touch with more modern-day franchises, and may benefit from a change. The Stunt Spectacular is a good show, which does well to keep you entertained for the duration, with plenty of action and stunts littered throughout the show. The show is enjoyable, and can be appreciated for its more traditional stunts and effects compared to other similar attractions which focus more on its use of electronics and technology as opposed to practical special effects. So in round 3, the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular claims a point going into round 4. The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man ride has been open since Universal's Islands of Adventure opened in 1999. The ride opened to critical acclaim, being lauded as one of the best 3D motion simulation attractions in the world. It garnered so much positive reaction that it was regularly considered as the top dark attraction and best non-roller coaster ride for over 15 years, regularly winning awards and being noted in lists of the world's best attractions. For 21 years and counting, the ride has been as popular as ever, and has inspired many 3D motion-based attractions, such as the Transformers The Ride 3D attraction at Universal Studios and Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. The ride continues to be one of the most attended attractions within the Universal Orlando Resort. The Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular is one of the longest-running stunt shows at any Orlando park. It opened a couple of months after the park originally opened, and has been a popular attraction throughout the entire time, being a mainstay attraction for 30 years. It is one of the only traditional movie stunt type of attractions left at the Orlando theme parks, with parks gradually moving away from the behind-the-scenes stunts and exhibition shows, and into more mainstream franchises and immersive ride experiences. Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular has been upgraded many times over the last 3 decades, trying to keep itself up with the times and implementing some new effects and adapting stunts, with the use of ever-changing technology. So in round 4, the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular levels the score, heading into the 5th and final, all-deciding round. Which attraction will win? Let's head into the final round and find out. The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man is one of the most enjoyable 3D motion-based simulation rides in Orlando. It's a fun attraction, which uses an intricate ride system and advanced 3D technology to provide an immersive thrill ride experience, taking you deep into the world of Spider-Man. The ride packs in a lot of fun throughout, taking guests through a maze of back alleyways and rooftops, creating an illusion of being transported around a big city, following the escapades of Spider-Man and his arch-enemies. The attraction is action-packed and surprisingly powerful as it launches you through various segments of the ride. The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man has been an innovator in terms of the standards and other attractions now need to meet to as good. The Spider-Man attraction is one of the best that 3D attractions have to offer theme park fans. The Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular has been incredibly popular over the last 3 decades. Its main focus has always been to remain true to both the film franchise and the original values of the theme park, which mainly focused on the behind-the-scenes elements of the film industry back in its inception. It offers more in the way of the nostalgic element of the show, rather than the stunts and special effects, as many appreciate the attraction for its traditional roots. The only downfall to the stunt show is that over the years, theme park guest demos and attractions has shifted to more interactive and immersive worlds, where the key element to any new attraction is the ability for riders to be fully integrated into the story of the attraction, which is something that the Indiana Jones show just is not able to fully provide. The show is still decent and brings an appreciative balance to the parks, with a unique attraction which remains true to its traditional art form, while being entertaining enough to remain relevant. Unfortunately, in this round it does mean that the Spider-Man ride just comes out on top, for being a slightly better all-round attraction. So after a fairly competitive contest, we do have a winning attraction. Which unfortunately means that after all 5 rounds, we have to say goodbye to the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular, which just narrowly drops out of the tournament. The Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular is a good attraction, which continues to entertain park crowds after 30 years of service. The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man advances to the next round. Join us next week for a thrilling battle between Hollywood Studios attraction, Star Tours, and Universal Studios' epic roller coaster ride, The Revenge of the Mummy. See you next week. We hope you enjoy this video. Please support us by subscribing to our channel. You can find us on social media platforms. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at Orlando Worlds, and on Instagram at The Orlando Worlds. Thanks for watching.